Hello, welcome to the Bill and Kelly Show, a special show coming to you from the Humane Indiana Wildlife Center in Valparaiso, Indiana. And so with us today, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, going from, I guess, your right, about your left.
I'm Nicole Harmon. I'm the educator for the organization.
My name's Steve Lakatos. I'm the director.
And I'm Brian Fitzpatrick, Chief Operations Officer.
Great, and we're very excited to be here, and we got a little tour, if you will, before we sat down at the table, and we saw some interesting things. We actually offered to move out here and take care of the property for them. It's amazing, and basically, from what I understand, you provide a service where people bring in some animals that have been injured, and you rehab them and try to get them back out into the wild. Why don't you explain to us how this beautiful center came to be, and and progress into today, and then also tell us about the population you have here now.
Well, Steve, why don't you, since you were part of the 1998 group that would help build the building next door.
All right.
Him and his dad. Why don't you start us off with that?
So a little over 20 years ago, a group of like-minded individuals came together and had just the idea of a wildlife rehabilitation center. I was on the board of directors then as well, and we, through a lot of growth and struggles and years of just years of struggles, finally came to be on this property, and this was the ladies who lived here donated the land for that.
Which is quite an amazing story in itself.
Yes.
And this is a well over 100-year-old house that we're sitting in right now.
Correct. So about 6-8 years ago, it opened, but not to the way it is now. Without the support of a larger organization, it was never really getting off the ground. So about 4 or 5 years ago, the board at that point for Moraine Ridge did approach Humane Indiana about becoming part of their organization. And then about 4 years ago, we actually opened to the public and to take in injured, sick, orphaned wildlife native to Indiana.
Amazing. And you get them and we were talking before we started the show, you get them from how many counties?
23 counties so far from Indiana, yep.
All brought to rural northwest Indiana here, so that's amazing. Is it mostly like wildlife rangers or property managers, biology people, or?
No, actually it is just people finding them. Most people find them in their own yards. They're driving to the store, driving to work, see something on the side of the road. So these are primarily citizens that just have a soft spot for wildlife and want to help.
Wow.
Actually, on our way over here, there was a gentleman that pulled up with some baby rabbits that his dog had gotten into the nest. So.
Yeah. And this is an amazing property. There's really 2 facilities right now, not including the domes. What do you call them? The
geodomes.
Geodomes.
Yeah.
And so that's we
refer to that side as the Rehab Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's not open to the public. That's the animals are dropped off there, and Nicole and Steve do what they do. And then this is our education center where we run out of our camps and our presentations and show our ambassadors so that kids and young and old alike really.
So what ones did we see over there? What do you have in rehab right now?
Well, right now we're just getting started with what all rehabbers call the baby season. So this is the time of year where things are just about to start hatching and babies are already being born. So we're starting to see the possums with their babies. So far still just small and in the pouch, but they're starting. The rabbits are starting, the squirrels of all breeds are starting, and the birds of prey, the owls have hatched already, and soon I anticipate all the songbirds to start.
Mm-hmm. And gosh almighty, well, we do have another guest that is kind of crawling around on the floor. Or oh no, he's in there. He was crawling around on the floor.
In his little.
Yeah,
she's back in her little place.
And this is Tuna.
This is Tuna.
And tell us about Tuna.
So Tuna actually came to us in August after being hit by a car. And you can see that, she'll turn around, you can see that she lost one of her eyes as a result, her right eye, and it actually broke her jaw.
Oh.
So one of those injuries or the other might be okay for her to still be released, but having that combination of the two of them would make a really difficult life out there for her, and she wouldn't be successful. So we had our vet out here doing a health certificate for another animal we were sending off as an ambassador to Maine, actually. And I said, well, why don't you take a look at her? What do you think? And she said, well, I think she might make a great ambassador. So we started with her then, and she has very quickly developed a following. Everybody falls in love with Tuna.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. She's got quite the following of people. We were out in East Chicago this morning with about 75 kids at the elementary school who were all
Nice.
so excited to see her.
Now, how did a possum get the name of Tuna?
So, so before I worked for Humane Indiana, I was a zookeeper. He came over to me during lunch and said, I really like birds. Do you want to see the different birds that I get to see here? And he had a field guide. And so we spent the next half hour with him showing me his favorite birds in his field guide. And then I was showing him birds that I see. And then comparing who we both see. And so they have great horned owls down there and turkey vultures and great blue herons, and we were able to kind of share that. And I decided at that point I wanted to be able to share those things with our kids up here, because how many kids can name off dozens of species of wild birds by their song,
Yes.
by their silhouette while they're flying. I was just so floored, and I wanted our kids up here to have that opportunity.
Yes.
That was amazing. And where was this again?
I was in Guyana in South America.
Amazing. Well, they definitely have more exposure to
Yeah,
the...
certainly. They rely on it a lot more than we do, too.
Yeah, that's a shame too, because, and that, is really what's so neat about the center, because you do have an educational outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So the kiddos from Washington Township, Valparaiso, and
All over.
all over have the benefit of having this beautiful center here, and they get to see the ambassadors firsthand
And
here.
you also
like
go
Tuna.
out to schools and other
yeah.
places. Like I know we met over at Wild Birds Unlimited in Cherville.
Yeah.
You were there doing a
I've
presentation.
been all the way out towards Elkhart. We've done programs. I'll be down in Indianapolis this upcoming summer doing programs down there. Like I said, East Chicago this morning. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, we do more away from the facility than we do here.
Yeah.
Last
Great.
year, we saw about 7,300
Yeah.
people. We're on pace this year for 25,000 people.
Yes.
And Nicole's putting some miles on that van.
Yes, that's good.
Well, that's great. And that's one thing I want to talk to you about, just taking a little sideline here. How, we talked a bit about funding before we went on camera. Talk to us about how you do get your funding, because this is a marvelous facility. How does that happen? How does Humane Indiana fund this beautiful
Well,
facility?
we rely on the generosity of people that donate. You saw the donations that came in earlier today with some supplies. We're grant funded. ArcelorMittal is a great partner
Yes.
of ours as well. So what we're doing is we're looking to build a robust education program that can offset the cost of the rehabilitation, because we're not funded by the state or the government. People assume that, but we're not. So we're looking to build this awesome education program so that not only are we impacting lives of wildlife and people, but it will also help fund the mission to be able to offset the costs that are associated with, you saw a bald eagle here today as well.
Gorgeous.
So if I were a teacher at one of the school districts, how do I get in contact with you to have some of that material?
Yeah, so they're either able to look us up on our website, which is humaneindiana.org. They're able to email me at education@humaneindiana.org, or it's as easy as a phone call. And from there, we look ahead into the calendar and see when I can get on out there.
Oh, great.
And the curriculum is very moldable. So, if a teacher is working on a particular mammals or birds, she can talk to Nicole, and Nicole's got the ambassadors, and she can then create the program that'll be impactful.
What a wonderful especially the schools around here, what a wonderful facility to have access to. That's amazing. And what about field trips here? The rehab facility isn't open to the public, but this facility is meant to be kind of like your educational.
Yeah, we're getting there. So we actually have our very first school. They're from Michigan City, coming out here next month. They'll be bringing about 60 individuals, and hopefully the weather's nice. We'll be able to go out on the trails, explore the exhibits in the building itself, and then have a program here where they'll get to meet our ambassadors.
Great.
And other organizations like Scouting, Girls on the Run, those kinds of things could come out here and do projects and programs as well.
Yeah, we do. Gardening clubs are huge and love to learn about wildlife. Master naturalists, we're involved with them. All these different community groups who are just interested in learning more about wildlife, all can come out here. We can schedule appointments or programs and get them introduced to some of our ambassadors.
And they can also do work on the property to help us.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
our
yeah.
staff we only have 3 people on the staff.
I was just about to ask that. What type of volunteer opportunities do you have?
Steve?
So there are projects out here as far as trail upkeep and enclosure upkeep, landscaping and stuff. And this is going to be a big year for us, and a lot of changes coming. So we're always looking for groups to help us with our mission.
And volunteering. Right?
Yes, we rely very heavily on. We have a great group of volunteers and interns, and that also helps us see and help all the animals that we do.
Well, after taking a tour, I think Kelly and I are thinking about selling the house and becoming permanent volunteers, taking care of your property for you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Land
beautiful.
stewards.
Yes,
and
okay, we can-
I wish I had the camera that we can use the backdrop that we are looking out into
it's
right now.
gorgeous.
It's absolutely wonderful.
One thing we didn't mention was last year, that little building next door took in over 1,800 animals.
Oh my goodness.
Wow,
Steve, you
1,800.
can
Wow.
talk a little bit
And
to that.
Yeah, over 1,800 animals. A lot. You never quite know what we'll get. If it's in Indiana, we'll get it. You see a lot of the usual suspects: the eastern cottontails, the robins, possums, squirrels. But as you guys were mentioning, bald eagles sometimes, and then
and
too
snakes.
Snakes, we do get some
Yeah.
snakes. Yep, and we also will see migrants at times too. So at certain times a year, we could see a very odd duck. We could see. You just never quite know what we'll see.
I suppose if someone ever did trap one of those bears that come down out of Michigan, that's it's out of your it's out of
We're
your
not
wheelhouse.
quite set up for bears, and if he was just trapped, he's more of a nuisance bear, and not an injured bear. So
trapping
we
a
rehab
bear,
them.
trapping a bear would be it would be a task. But I remember in Michigan City they had a visitor come down from.
And we were following it every day, hearing the stories. Yes,
I bet. So
Now this building here is quite a bit older than the newer building next door. This property and this building was donated to you, or you
We
you purchased it, but you guys got the first option
Yes.
to purchase this. But it needs a lot of loving care because it's a much older building, and
Yes.
there's a lot of plans. I heard new parking lot, new trails and things like that. So how do people go about giving you guys money or supplies and different things like this as well to help with this amazing project?
Well, Nicole, why don't you first talk to the what you do with Facebook, because we've got a very active Facebook.
Yeah, so
Oh, yes.
we've really started with a push on our Facebook page to not just share stories of the patients that come in, but to share different educational messages as well. And those educational messages are almost more picked up than some of the not some of the ambassadors, but some of the patients that we take in. And through there, we'll pick some key stories where we'll put that Donate Now button on there, where people can very actively participate in whatever project that is. We'll obviously highlight when we start working here and kind of mention to people there are different ways, different things that they can donate, whether it is, doing that Donate Now button on Facebook, or sending in Menards gift cards, or even just dropping by and seeing what we need right away, the wish list we have online, all those different things.
And there's also a sponsorship too, where you can
Yes.
sponsor one of the animals and things like that
Tuna,
too. So,
one
yes.
of our presentations at the Highlands resale shop, and after that presentation, a gentleman came up with his 2 sons, and he said, "What can I do to help this organization?" And we said, "Well, you want to sponsor tuna?" And he an opportunity to sponsor tuna. opportunity. You can
that's
sponsor
great.
the flight cage. You can sponsor some of the geodomes that we build. And we do have other animals that are here as our ambassadors that can be sponsored as well.
Like
I would say,
Hans doesn't
yeah.
have a sponsorship
I
yet.
know.
Oh,
That's-
really?
That's not his
Uh-oh.
official name. That's like his in-house name.
Right.
Okay.
So,
But I would say the best thing is to go to humaneindiana.org and contact us if there's something that you wanted to do. Then we have people that will reach back out to you and make that happen.
And even people who are plumbers or electricians and things like that, I'm sure you could
Yes.
always find uses for that
Working
as
kind
well.
absolutely is something we rely on that as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, for those of you listening out there watching this podcast, by all means, you can Google it and get the location here, and it's out in the woods, but it is a beautiful place. And
Gorgeous.
but the building here does have some history. The building that we're sitting in now, and from what you in our tour, you said it's 100 years old, and some older ladies used to live here and used to can their own food and so on. So when did this get turned over again, this property?
so
did you
we
purchase it?
actually picked up the property at the tail end of 2015. When I started in February of 2016, all of their stuff was still in here.
Oh,
It was like
gosh.
they took what they could carry and left everything else. And so it took a lot of manpower to get this place emptied out, to get it cleaned up. We had to paint everything. It was very much a labor of love to get this place to the point where it is today. But yeah, when I first started, there were saddles in here, and every time you would open a closet, it was full of things. So we had estate sales and whatnot, and
Sure.
book sales to be able to help clear it out.
Yeah. And there's this great little turtle pond over here with some of the little rescue turtles.
And that was a project. Was it a Boy Scout or an Eagle Scout project?
No, that was a project through students at, I want to say it was Ivy Tech. It was one of the local colleges who, they had like an engineering class, and they reached out and said, well, what do you need? And we're like, well, you can build this for us. And so they did, and it was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was just thinking all the Eagle Scouts and
Yeah.
the different
Yeah.
scouting projects
Some
that
of the
girls and
cages
Boy
we
Scouts
have,
have.
there's plenty to do here.
Yes, oh gosh, tons of things they could do out here.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll put all that on our Facebook page and make sure people know about it.
Make
It'll
sure
be
you guys all know how to
in-
contact them. And
Yeah, definitely.
find things.
It's an amazing facility, and we appreciate the work you do. We're huge wildlife fans, and especially birds. But
No,
yeah,
everything.
everything. But we have more bird visitations at our house. Than
Well, I
anyone
can't
else.
very well have deer and fox come to my suburban house in the middle of Highland, so
Well.
if I could, I would.
Well, they're across the street now. Well, with that, and the day isn't over yet. We still have to interview some
Yeah,
other
we have
guests.
some more things coming up.
So
just keep watching.
Yep. And with that, is there anything else you would like to share? Anything coming up?
We have two big events that'll
Yes.
serve as our larger fundraisers for the Education and Rehab Center. In August, we have a Bat Appreciation Evening where we're actually bringing in some guest speakers, and we'll be mist netting in our woods here and bringing some of the species of bats up for people in-house to be able to actually see them and learn about them. We'll be taking guided night hikes with acoustic monitors so we can hear the bats that are on property, and we're really excited about that.
That's awesome.
And then in October, we'll have our Festival of Owls, where we're bringing in 9 speakers from across the country to teach about the local owl species that we have in Indiana. So
We gotta get to that one.
it's going to be a lot of
Yeah,
fun
get
this
the
year.
owl.
We've got a lot of good
Yeah.
events.
And
coming.
we have the owl appreciation art.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
and that's the other thing that we've
Yeah.
been asked to talk about. Let's talk about that a bit, because the owl statues.
Yeah, it's a 4-foot owl, and people are familiar with the ducks in Highland
Right,
and
exactly.
the bulldogs
And Crown
and the
Point,
crown
yes.
seats. So the Owl Public Art is an initiative that is very, very exciting. We saw the first owl 2 weeks ago at our gala. uncovered. And it's just going to be exciting to see this art and what people can do with this art.
Right, so businesses or people can
businesses,
sponsor
yes,
them.
sponsor
They
this.
get somebody to paint them, or you guys have
have
actual
artists,
painters
we
that
have
can do
artists,
them.
yep.
And then they're on display, and I heard that there's going to be a map that tells you like where they all
Yes,
are,
right.
because I know my girlfriend in Kentucky and her daughter had to come all the way to Chicago when they did these German Shepherd dogs that were all over
yeah.
the place, because there was one makeup artist that had painted one of them, and she's like, I have to find them, and we went everywhere looking for
Right.
those, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we'll have
and that would be so fun.
Yeah, we'll have the map. I think that's end of May, early June, and then that whole project culminates in November with the auction and to drive funds for the organization.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
we'll-
very excited about
Yeah,
that.
well, and we'll put some of that information specifically. So with that, we're going to cut over to some of our other guests.
Yes. A big-winged guest.
And for now, we'll say goodbye.
Yes.
Okay, we are now coming to you with our very special guest, Tonk. Tonk is a great horned owl, and he's gorgeous. And Nicole has been taking care of Tonk and raising him and making him into this amazing ambassador that he has become. And Tonk, I was wondering if you could tell me, are you a Cubs fan or a Sox fan? Cubs. I think I could tell by the way you were looking over there. And can you tell me a little bit about girlfriends? Are you seeing anyone special right now? I suppose you're dating someone that you don't want the media to know about. Top secret dating, is that it? Oh, is she in on the secret? I see what it is. You guys have a secret and you're not telling me. Uh-huh, yeah, you heard me. I'm on to you. Don't think I'm not. Yeah. So tell me about dinner. What's your favorite dinner? Do you have a favorite restaurant or a favorite meal? It's over that way? No? What? Where is it? Oh. Look at your eyes. Oh, uh-huh. What is that? No. You are good. Any other news and exciting events going on that you want to tell us about? Shrugging your shoulders, I saw that. You're thinking about it. Nothing off the top of your head? You know, I played a rabbit once, and my girlfriend played an owl. She was very honored to play an owl. And if she'd had a name, I think it should have been Tonk. That would have been the perfect name for her. I was just rabbit. Boring. I've also played a dog. So I feel a kindred spirit with you. Yeah, I'm not just a human. I can play all those other parts. What's over there? Are you friends with tuna? Is that what you're doing? Are you looking over there trying to scope out tuna? No, not for that reason. Because you're buddies, I can tell. Yeah. Any parting words? All right. Well, I'm going to have Nicole talk about you just a little bit and use this microphone, okay? Thank you.
So we actually got him on April 15th, so we're very quickly coming up on the first anniversary of us getting him. I know. And the day before Tonks came in, we actually had gotten a female great horned owl as well. They're not in together, and she's not an education ambassador at the moment. Well, she is, but she's not going on programs. But we have the opportunity, should we get in any baby great horns who have been orphaned, that they can go in with her while he continues to come out on programs with me. So he is probably at least a year old at this point, but these guys are that top predator that we get at night, so it's very incredible and important for us to be able to share that with everybody in the community. But yeah, he has the opportunity to live to be around 24, 25 years old, so he's going to be with us for a while. We're really excited about that. No, he was only about 2 weeks old, so he was very little. He was probably about a third of his size. No adult feathers. He was all just little chick fuzz. had sustained a broken wing, and so we wrapped his wing and got it set to a place where he was going to be able to be comfortable with it for the rest of his life. We know he's not, it's not painful for him, and so that's really important for us to consider with our ambassadors. Yeah, so yeah, they're nocturnal, so it is hard for people to find and see great horned owls. He actually came from Munster, in the city, so it's not like you have to travel somewhere out to some remote area to be able to see a great horned owl. Our director says he sees them in his backyard all the time, and he's in Munster as well. So we know we have them here. We have them on our own property. Our female came from South Bend, so again, it's not a very rural area by any means. But they like heavy wood stands. They like places where there's a lot of food for them, obviously. But yeah, for people this time of year, maybe not so much, but about maybe a month ago when it's mating season, everybody's calling, is the perfect opportunity to go out and hear all our different local owl species calling to one another.
And people can have talk, come out to their school. He's another
Yeah. Yep, he is. Yeah, he's one of the ambassadors that comes out with me. We've been to dozens of facilities together, going and teaching sometimes just about owls, sometimes about nocturnal animals, sometimes about predator-prey relationships. He plays a really key role within our education programs and how we impact them, either for the positive or the negative, and what we can do to maybe, keep it positive, change just little things that are, wouldn't be too terrible, that would help the species drastically.